Hi everyone, my name is Riza Gayas Torres. I'm a third semester student, and this semester I'm taking research methodology and teaching reading. And in this symposium, I would like to share my literature review of my literature review from my teaching reading class. And this is the title of my literature review: Modified Sustained Silent Reading Programs, or SSR. And to give you a background of modified sustained silent programs, um, um, you have to know what is SSR first. So SSR is a technique where students basically were given the chance to read silently, and they can also choose the books according to their choice. So they can read whatever they want silently. So basically, this is SSR. And so in this literature review, I have a question about SSR, and so I tried to find programs that modify SSR. So these are basically the contents of my literature review, and I would like to tell you why I chose this topic, SSR, because from my personal experience, I felt that I am a product of reading. I learned my second language. I did not have like a rigid learning of English as a second language in my country, but I I have realized that a lot of my vocabulary, my expressions, and a lot of things I am using now in my English speaking ability, I credit it to my reading. Not really all, but I know that I have learned a lot from my readings, because my father would always ask us to read at books, and then we don't have television at home when we were young, and so we were motivated and encouraged to read books. And during our one of our during in one of our classes, we discussed about FVR, or free voluntary reading, and it really ignited my interest because of my personal experience. And so in this study, in this literature review, I decided to find some research programs that modify SSR, because I have some questions about SSR. Although I know that it's really good, it's good, and also it can also be effective, but I have some questions on the validity of SSR, or sustained silent reading, because as we know, silent reading, we cannot evaluate the students reading, the reading process, the fluency of the reading, and how they comprehend the reading. So there are a lot of things that we cannot there are a lot of limitations in silent reading when you compare it to read aloud. So I tried to look for programs that somehow modify between guided reading, because I also learned from teaching reading that guided reading can also be very good and can also be effective, as proven by some researches. So I said that maybe there are some reading programs that are between this, where students are given the chance to be free, to given the chance to choose their reading, and also somehow there is a guide for them, so that they won't be lost in the reading, and also it will scaffold them, and it will improve their reading habit. So based on this background, I formulated my research questions, and these are my questions. How do these reading programs improve SSR, and how are they implemented, and how effective are these newly designed programs? So in this study, first I have to identify the weaknesses of SSR, because in order to know how this reading improve SSR. So these are the weaknesses of SSR based on my research. It says here that aside from Kelly and Clausen Grace also identify that students in SSR, they lack the metacognitive strategy in reading. And aside from this, it's stated here that weaknesses of SSR are: first, students often read inappropriate reading material. Many students were fake reading, and this is, I think, the one of the most common, the strongest criticism of SSR, that the students can fake their reading. because you don't know if they are really reading or not, because it is done silently. And the lack of response or feedback because there is no teacher student interaction, and some students were unable to engage in the reading because they lack the strategies. So they said that the strategies by according to Kelly and Claus and Grace, they found out that these students lack when they did a survey of the students of SSR. Lack of teacher monitoring and accountability, and also lack of feedback to students about the quality and quantity of their reading. So, to answer these questions, I decided to review 3 reading programs, and they are the modified reading programs of SSR. And to answer my second and third questions on how to implement it and how to know if evaluate or how to know if these programs are effective, I included in my review of these programs first an overview of this program, a comparison table, so that you will be able to identify the differences when you compare it to the traditional SSR. And also for the implementation, I put there how the teachers implemented this program, and also how this program were evaluated, or how they were or it answered my third question on how effective are these newly designed programs. For me, these are very important because the answers to these questions could improve my reading technique in the class, my reading strategies and methods, teaching methods. And so if I found out that these programs are good, and so I can apply it in my class or modify it according to the needs of my students. So the first one is scaffolded silent reading, or SCSR. So it deals one of the main goal of this is, aside from the many trying to change the issues surrounding traditional SSR, it is about moving oral reading fluency to silent reading practice effectively. As you can see here in the table, these are the differences between SSR and SCSR. And one of the main points that I would like to point out, that in SCSR, the teacher scaffolds the students. There is a genre wheel where the students can identify what genre they are reading, and also they are motivated to read as many genres as possible. And there is a student teacher conference, and there is also a student response project where they make a project about the book about the book that they have read, and the teacher can post these projects in the library. So these are basically their differences between SSR and SCSR. And so while reading this, I found a lot of interesting things about SCSR and I think that I could apply it in my class. And how to implement it? So according to Russell Jones, Foston, and Smith, they are the ones who made this and modify this SCSR. They made this because of they saw that a lot of problems in SSR. And so how they implemented it, they said that the teacher should the library have these different it should be different the book should be labeled according to their difficulties, and there are also colorful labels, and the shelves or plastic bins where the books are organized and clearly separated according to the appropriate levels. And students were given the right to choose the books, but they were guided by the teacher gives them the right to choose a book, but they are also given the 12 genres. It's a wheel with the 12 genres, so that the students are they are expected to read the different genres within the 9 weeks of within the 9 weeks of the year. And also here the teacher plans and make a selection of strategy lessons for the students, so that they will be they are given the teacher gives them a mini lesson on how to appropriately select a book, so that the students can successfully choose books. And during the SSR, the students are engaged in 20 minutes of reading practice time each day. And of course, while they're reading, the teacher keeps a list of the students' names for tracking her weekly monitoring, because there is a teacher-student conference. And during the conference, the teacher asks the students to read aloud from their books, while she makes a running record analysis of their read aloud activity. And after the read aloud activity, they have a discussion and monitor, and the goal of the students' goal to finish the book, and also they discuss about the research project, the book response project. So this is giving accountability and also one way of motivating the students to finish the book. And so how did they evaluate it? So look, you can see here in the table, they compare this with the SCSR and the GROR. They chose GROR because it is highly recommended by the National Reading Panel as the most effective reading program. And so they want to see if SCSR could also, you could also use, is also valuable and recommendable as GROR. And according to their study, the results show that there is no significant differences between the two. So it indicated that SCSR is equivalent to GROR for improving the students' fluency and comprehension. So in this study, they used the third grade students. So you can say that SCSR has proven that it is also very effective and also equivalent to GROR. Another one is the R5 by Kelly and Clausen and Grace. So R5 is another makeover of SSR, and the purpose is the R5 is purposeful, focused, metacognitive, and pleasurable. So one main difference between SSR is R5 teach the students metacognitive strategies in reading. And so this is called R5 because it's read, relax, reflect, respond, and wrap. So basically they have the reading log. The students respond to the reading log, not only write the title of their reading record, but also they write their response. So that is the main difference. And in wrap, they share in pairs and they share it in the whole class. And to eliminate the fake reading, the one of the problems of SSR, fake reading, the teachers would alternately call a student in front of the class to discuss what they have discussed with their pair. So the students would really try to focus on their reading because they know that they may be called in front of the class and report to the class what they have read. So it's really one way of eliminating fake reading. And so this is basically their differences. Generally the differences are between R5 and SSR. So how do you implement this? So according to Kelly and Grace, it's 3 days a week. Students spend 10 to 25 minutes reading self-selected books. But in this one, it's very important that they should practice their metacognitive practices, their metacognitive strategies in the reading as taught by their teacher in their mini lessons. So aside from reflecting, the students also write a brief response to the text. So and as I mentioned, the wrap portion where the students discuss with their partner and then they report to the class alternately depending on who the teacher called. And during the class, the teacher would also ask the students to identify what reading strategies the student used. And so they tried to see how effective it is, and so they did a pre and post survey on Nikki Clausen's class. So after 4 months, the students showed progress, and 7 months after they implemented the DRA 48. And according to the result, the findings showed that all areas demonstrated growth and metacognitive awareness. And metacognitive awareness showed to be the biggest area of growth, because as you can see here in R5, metacognitive is very important in this reading program. And so the last one is the structured independent reading by Trudel. It's called the Heart of the Reading Workshop because here the teacher guides the students. And one thing, it's almost the same with the 2 previous reading programs, but one different thing about this is there is more time on teacher-student conference. There is no limit, no time limit. And how to implement it? So just like the 2 ones, there are many mini lessons, there are log books, and the main difference is that there is a longer time for teacher-student conference. and the students, the teacher write also responses in their notebooks, in their journals. So that is also one main difference. So I could really say that these